So for anyone who says that gardening is really hard work, I mean, come on. I have tons of these mustard greens and I have an entire container here of stuff that I planted out just over a month ago. I mean, a month is not a long time to be getting a harvest. So if you plant out from one month to another, you can literally be eating food from the garden. Anyone who says that you are, gonna have to work really, really hard to grow a garden, that is just not true. Hey guys, welcome back to Mini Urban Farm, a channel about gardening and homesteading in the suburbs. Today we are doing a harvest of our pole beans, our bush beans, some arugula, and then maybe even planting out a few things. So I'm really excited to show you exactly how many beans we are actually getting. So for the harvest, I have my bowl. I don't think we'll need too much more than this. It is quite a small garden, and of course a pair of scissors. Now I actually planted out everything from seed at the beginning of October. So we are now in the middle of November. It has not been that long, and we are getting actual beans to harvest, not just like one or two, but a whole ton of them. So let's see how much we're actually able to fill up and use for dinner tonight. Alright, so these are our bush lake beans, I think they're called. They are just a pole bean variety, stringless, and so you can see they have actually like a whole bunch of flowers, but we also have a ton of these really thin stringless pods. So we have probably a good couple handfuls, just from what I'm seeing at the very least. I think probably more than that, but definitely very excited to harvest these. I'm gonna do these ones first and then move on to the rest of the garden. Alright, so I actually got way fewer than I thought I was going to. When I looked at some of the plants, they had at least a couple of them, but apparently that was only one or two of them. So we got about a handful here, which is fine, so that I can mix them in with the other beans. And I do have some of these frozen still from last season. I definitely thought there were more, but I mean, for about 30 days since we planted, not too bad. And now we're gonna come through and harvest some of our arugula. I will be adding this into a breakfast casserole that I am preparing for the week. Alright, definitely much better than the beans. I'll be adding this to a casserole. I'm gonna add arugula, some sausage, lots and lots of eggs. I have to get rid of some of these eggs that our chickens have been producing, and then probably maybe some bacon and cheese as well. You can also see how much of these little parsley seedlings are starting to pop up. We have quite a few of them. I just kind of like took my extra seed packets and sprinkled them everywhere. This is chamomile over here that kind of like drifted from over there somewhere, but you can see we have a whole bunch of baby little parsley. I'll probably clip off some of that as well so I can add in. And you guys, oh my god, we have our first squash flower. Oh my god, I completely forgot that this was needed to be trellising, but we have our first little baby squash attached to the flower. So this is a female flower. I don't think it's gonna actually do anything because there are no other male flowers on the plant to be able to pollinate that with, but cute nonetheless. And while I'm here, I'm also gonna go ahead and tie up some of these squash plants. I like to use this like Velcro tomato tie things. Sometimes I use like the actual tomato ties that like twist, right? Like the top of a sandwich bag. Do people still use that? I think that's like a really old thing to use. But nonetheless, this has been really good. The only issue I have with these is that when it comes time to remove them off of the trellising, it's kind of a bit of a pain. But I like that you can cut them to length and you can reuse these from season to season. So, I mean, I just kind of like leave them on and then move them around as I need to. And I finally went ahead and thinned out these plants. I feel so bad having to actually remove full-grown plants, but I probably should have done it a little bit earlier. However, these squash plants will do a lot better now that they're significantly more spaced out. They need that room in between them because they do grow really large, so I will be throwing these out or adding them to compost or something. So I'm also going ahead and harvesting a lot of my yellow Marble of Venice pole beans. So these get really large and they grow pretty fast. I mean, these were probably the first ones to start producing. They do take a little bit more time to mature on the plant because they start off as green and then they end up more like a yellow color, like a bright yellow. And then the inside, the actual seed pods, like the actual part of the bean, is like a bright purple color. So that's when they're fully mature. I do have several handfuls of these that I'm going to go ahead and harvest, and then there's actually some growing on the back side of the trellis next to the fence, and I'm going to have to figure out how to get those out right now. I'm also going to harvest some of the ones that are just kind of turning yellow now. Some of them are green, but because they're like leaning on the actual on the soil, I don't want them to go bad, so I'm going to harvest these ones as well. So that was actually pretty good. We have a whole bunch of these yellow pods. Some of them grow actually pretty large. I don't know if you can tell, it's like bright yellow there. I did harvest some of the ones that were just a little bit green still. I just want to prevent those from actually like getting pests or disease or any of that. So between both of the green beans, we definitely have enough for dinner. And I'm gonna go ahead and harvest out some of our purple mustard here. We have a whole bunch of it, and it is definitely perfect for a salad or maybe even to toss in that casserole. Look at how amazing these are. Oh my gosh, they're like this bright purple slash merlot kind of color. I can't even describe it. I don't even know if the camera can capture it, but these are so pretty, and these leaves are huge. I mean, that's my hand, and this is one of the smaller leaves that I've taken off of this plant. So for anyone who says that gardening is really hard work, I mean, come on. I have tons of these mustard greens, and I have an entire container here of stuff that I planted out just over a month ago. I mean, a month is not a long time to be getting a harvest. So if you plant out from 1 month to another, you can literally be eating food from the garden. Anyone who says that you are, gonna have to work really hard to grow a garden, that is just not true. All right, and the last thing that I will share with you guys is my tomatoes have been getting still eaten by these leaf miners. I have not actually poured more of the neem oil mix into the soil, and the top layers seem to be doing just fine, right? Like these ones aren't getting eaten by leaf miners. They do have some of this damage on them, and I wasn't exactly sure what that is, so I did have to do a little bit of research because I'm not used to seeing that on our plants. But apparently this is cold damage, right? It doesn't usually get too cold here, but when the temperature drops and then heats back up like it has been doing over the past week or so here, this spotting and stuff is just cold damage. So hopefully they don't, suffer too much of it, because I am hoping still to get some tomatoes even in the off season here. And I'm actually going to go ahead and take some of my lemon basil here just to add into the salad. So I am just going to clip off at the nodules, and then hopefully these will start growing bushier instead of tall. Alright guys, so I am going to take all of this stuff. I have my Marble of Venice pole beans, I have my bush beans, some of them more tender than others. I have my Japanese red mustard, I have lemon, basil, and I have some arugula down here at the bottom. I'm gonna go and start cooking some salad, some casserole, and some green beans for tonight. Thanks so much for harvesting with me, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!